Ulumnu nyama sego mai sando agaya na komye na nu nyam sego ibutwa bom anga ne bani ne kuonge kom guansang winguta lena zindafu wamalu chume wula wula la
Welcome, Grand Notable Bobe AFO AKOM.
Oh, thank you for giving me all the titles and all the honors.
You deserve them. You're
Yes.
always very beautifully dressed in your traditional regalia, from your cap to your dressing and even to the stuff you have. Can you tell us about your outfit, which is usually very unique?
You see that I am not only promoting folklore music, but I have done something in this Cameroon that everybody is talking about it. I'm a traditional fashion designer. As you see, I have succeeded in selling the Togo, the image of the Togo, nationwide first, because at first you could only go to Bafoussam or to Bamenda to get one of these. But I've succeeded in pushing it, making people to understand that everybody, whether you are a Bassa, whether you are Monasawa, you can wear the dress. And you can still remember in 2008 when I did the first job for these dresses for the Cameroon delegation to the Olympic Games. And that is where they saw it for the first time. Unfortunately, the dress won a gold medal in the whole world. You see what I have done. So even though I'm still crying for salvation today, so I grew up in the village and I've been taking part in almost all the traditional dances that they are in the village, even right down to the palace. So I grew up in that domain. So it is me. And that is why if you see even my son sitting here, is struggling to say, hey, one day, please, you should give me a chance and let me continue from where you end.
Exactly.
So it is true that in those days, in 1975-76, when I joined the first the orchestra in Bamenda, in those days where we had more than 14 orchestras in Bamenda in those days, we were playing Congo music, East African tunes, Nigerian tunes, Pokolikok, as you know, and the Panko music with by Prince Nikombarga in those days. But when I left for Nigeria in January 1978 for my adventure to make a career, I decided to quit the orchestras just for entertainment to go and make a career in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, I went and joined so many orchestras there. And I think when I released my first ever song in Nigeria in 1980, they used to call it Karang Seng Tu Jeang, or what they call a plate, a single song in Nigeria. But unfortunately, it did not really work because the producer by that time was not a professional. All the same, I was invited to animate a TV program in Ngongola State in those days during the inauguration of the Ngongola State Television in 1981. Buhari, when he took over from Shagari in those days, he decided that all the sans-papiers, those who were not having papers, should leave Nigeria. And then is when they arrested us, they carried us to go, drop us at the boundaries of Garwa, that is between Yola and Garwa in those days. That is when I began my cry for salvation.
Okay.
When I finally arrived Garwa in 1982, and then they started launching some concours. By that time, they wanted to change the jingle of the news in the national station from the old jingle to bring the new jingle that we have today. They recorded me, and I was eliminated on that concours in Radio Garwa. My tape did not even arrive here one day. But all the same, I gathered myself, and I had to continue, had to record my music in Radio Garwa. I insist, Radio Garwa was not CRTV by that time. So they had to record it in a tape from rail to rail tape And late Peterson, who was the chief of programs in the national station, asked Radio Gawa to send a copy in Yaoundé, a copy of my music for broadcast. Yeah. That is how I started making a name in Cameroon. Some of the copies came to hear radio in Buya, some of them in Radio Douala and Betua in those days, and another one went to Radio Bafas, and these were the few radios in those days. At the time, the TV was functioning in the national station, in one of the studios, national station, because I had two big studios there. One was for recording music and one was for the TV. I can remember one of the first directors in those days, Kenneth Komtange, who was one of the first directors of the TV. And my first Tam weekend was done in a Calaboot house behind the national station. That is where the offices of this great TV that we have today began. Yes. So we did my first Tam weekend there with Ali Baba in those days, and some of them. So as the time goes on, Elvis Kemayo came and created a program they call Jeune Talent. Jeune Talent, we had to pass on that program, and later Telepodium, and later. This is me today. Ask me another question. Hey! Hey! Hiya, damanyong minang kumanguna. Hiya, batume. Oh, hiya. I am the grand notable of our grass-field traditional melodies. Bubi Yerima AFO AKOM, visiting the foot of Mount Cameroon after a long time, a fresh environment, especially at this time when I'm coming up with a project on our environment and tourism. I will soon be letting the cat out of the bag anytime from now.